Hey, Flowmies, it's time for another edition of the ITF Flowcast. We are so happy to have our end of the year program that we always do. It's the Flowmie Roundtable. We get all the mods together. We are short Corey, though, which we are very sad. Has a very good reason to be out. So he's with family. He's important stuff. We definitely didn't want him to miss that, but we are missing him in our conversation. But we just wanted to check in with everyone. So we've got Kevin, Sarah, and Phebe. We've got Fernando. We got Joel, and of course myself. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Spectacular.
Very good.
Yeah, good. Well, hey, why don't we just check in and see how everybody's doing? How did the year treat you so far? And what's new? What's stuff that's you had to overcome or any challenges you faced? So I guess we can start with you, Joel. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Everything's going pretty good. Challenges that we faced so far, our business, as far as all the moderators go, the business that my wife and I run is the youngest business out of all of them. We've had our business now for about 5 years and it's been growing. So a lot of the things that we're going through that's new to us, everybody on the moderator team has been through already. So from learning how to train, how to hire, bidding large jobs, everything like that. It's always a new challenge all the time. So this year was our largest year that we've had so far, the most work that we've done. And it was a lot of stress going into this year, preparing for the work that we do. So most of our work is done over the course of about 3.5 months over the summer. We do a lot of work with schools, colleges, and everybody wants done at the same time over the summer break. So this year for my wife and I, it was stressful preparing for that, planning for it. We also have been trying to hire new employees. We've lost good employees. They've moved away. So different challenges, different struggles. But we're almost at the end of the year. So I think we've made it somewhat successful.
Nice. Very cool.
That's awesome.
What's your biggest challenge with hiring right now?
Biggest challenge with hiring right now is that we're going into the winter. And so we are picking up somebody actually, they just got sick. They tested positive for COVID and their first day was supposed to be Monday. So today is Sunday, they're supposed to start tomorrow and we have a big project and they're not going to be there.
Yeah.
So going into winter work, you almost never want to hire anybody going into the end of the year. It's always slow and you're always worried that you're going to set an expectation for somebody and then not be able to fulfill it. Fortunately, we've had some work coming around this time of year, but it's still going to be difficult going through February. So it's going to be difficult to train them right now because what we do have is not the easy work. We're going to be throwing them into the fire. And then once we get through it, there's going to be nothing until we hit spring again. So that's the biggest challenge right now.
So you're going to burn them up and then he's going to have to rest and wait a while before he gets work again.
That's
right. Go after some of that interior work.
Yeah, we're going to do some interior work. But even at that, we're going to be doing lift work on the inside of some of these buildings. And we're doing a lot of new construction right now. And that's usually not what you want to start somebody off on is new construction. Because that's where you run the risk of damaging property a lot of times is removing construction debris from glass.
Or they end up hating it.
Yeah, or
it's the hardest. Yeah, we had that happen. We had somebody come in part-time to help and I stuck them on a construction cleaning. They worked 2 days.
Yep.
On.
Yep. Very
one thing I will say that's been interesting this year is we've added high dusting, which I think Kevin does a lot of high dusting. So that's been
got a job Monday.
Yeah, we're going to be doing high dusting Monday with the new construction. Actually, one of the things we'll be high dusting is they have beyond just tall ceilings and ceiling fans, they have some 10-foot tall palm trees inside of the house, like over a dozen of them. And so we're going to be dusting palm trees, which is great. So it's always interesting.
Cool.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, it sounds like you guys are growing at the rate you're wanting to, right?
Yes.
Nice. Very good. Kevin, how about yourself, man?
Busy as always. As most people know, we're pretty much got a room of our own at the hospital. So we're constantly keeping up with work there, work today.
Now, is it one of those padded rooms, Kevin? Do you have to put on a special?
HIPAA laws, Gabe, HIPAA. We're not gonna talk about Kevin's mental deficiencies on the show, because I'm sure there was a few people that would love to see me tied up in a padded room. Some days Celeste being one of them.
Do they make sleeveless jackets to tie you up?
Sleeveless straight jacket, yeah. I think they're gonna have to. Otherwise, I'm gonna lose cred if I get put into a padded room with sleeves on.
Get the Argus.
Yeah. And then of course we're preparing for the convention in January. So we're working on a lot of different stuff for that. Aside from preparing our own stuff to get there and what we need to do, then all the convention stuff that's going to happen. And then in addition to that, so what they're doing new this year, the previous window cleaner of the year winner will hand out the award to the new recipient. So obviously last year that was Taylor, so she's going to get to do that this year. So that means she's going to the convention, which is in Las Vegas. Her and her fiance decided this would be a great time to get married.
Oh, wow.
So we are going to go to Vegas, have the IWCA convention, and have a wedding in the White Chapel or whatever it's called at some point. So we have to, so we got to figure out when that's all going to happen. And for her fiance, his name is Roy. And he actually helped us today, so technically he's an employee now. And Celeste, it'll be their first visit ever to Vegas. So it's gonna be a really interesting trip. So we fly in, I think, on Sunday night. Of course, there's a couple board meetings that I have to go to, and then the convention itself, some of the classes. I'm doing a class this year, so I'll have I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon. I gotta look. I don't even know when that is. To do the class, and then we'll get the wedding mixed in there and all that good stuff. So it's going to be quite a week for sure.
I was wondering what that sparkle in your eye was.
I wasn't sure it was ever going to happen, to be honest with you. And obviously it's not going to be a traditional walk your daughter down the aisle wedding.
Change is always good.
Yeah. And for them, I think it's going to be great. I mean, they're neither of them are much of traditionalists. So being able to do something like this in Vegas, never going to forget it.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm just hoping that it's Elvis that marries him. That's all I got. That's all I got to say.
Wow. Well, that is some news. That's going to be an exciting time. I can't wait to.
It's going to be interesting. Yep, for sure.
And Taylor on the IWCA show that I host, and just a lovely person. I mean, I've spoken with her, but it's always been very brief, and just to have a little more extensive conversation with her was really nice. You can see she's really taking her role seriously as part of the company, and you can see that she's really turning into quite a responsible business person. She just really
she's made a lot of strides in the last several years, and I keep teasing her. She's got to gear up to take over when I retire next year.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, okay, whatever, Dad. But
are you retiring though?
No. I'm not retired.
Can we bleep that when because if Taylor sees this later?
Honestly, I guess maybe I should be looking forward to retiring, but I just don't have the desire to not do anything. So I would have to have something pretty good in the works to keep working on. I am not, for sure, not the kind of person that's just going to retire and sit in the house and watch TV.
Right.
So
what about
full-fledged
like a general manager where you're not in the field so much and you're now working office, you know.
If it was for my company, maybe, but I just don't work for other people all that well. That's one of the reasons I have my own company, is because nobody else will let me work for
but that's what I mean is hiring in the with the idea of replacing yourself in the field, you know. So you're now the head of your company.
I don't know if I could stay out of the field then, though.
Well, you don't have
to be like, oh, I know how to do this. Come on out, guys. I'll show you how to get this done. And I think I would just kind of keep the same role. I mean, less time on the glass for sure would be great.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
More time to travel, more time to do. I'd like to do some more consulting and things like that. But
yeah,
as far as
that's certainly, you know, for someone like yourself, it still kind of feeds the desire to be out there and to have your hands on the tools and on jobs and see it. But then you're not having to kill yourself, you know, 6 days a week, you know, and you can like you said, if you want to take a week off and go with your wife somewhere, you can do it, and the business still continues on, you know.
Yeah.
But that takes planning, you know. You got to start working. That's where I'm at. I'm trying to work towards that. I might as well just talk about mine, unless you've got some more to share.
No, go ahead.
So my situation is that I had an awesome year business wise. I probably have the best crew I've had in a long time. You know, so obviously there's some guys who need some help and work, but nothing negative, you know, nothing that I'm like, oh, this guy is kind of hurting our business because of his attitude or because of being late or calling in all the time. I don't have any of those guys. All the guys are solid, you know, great positive vibes, good culture. Everyone helps each other. You know, it's just a really great spot. And my number one guy is quitting at the end of this month.
Oh.
And I had him. He was the one I was thinking, I'm going to make him my general manager in about a year. And I'm going to step away and let him run the company for the day-to-day stuff. And I'll handle all the stuff. So I'm kind of starting at square one now, because my next guy in line, who's great, and I can absolutely count on him to get a job done, but I really can't count on him to run crews, you know. And I don't think it's what he would want to do anyways. You know, he's definitely more, he likes to be given a line of work and go do it and do a good job at it. You know, he doesn't really like to tell other people what to do. So that's kind of a big bummer. So that's readjusting my goals for next year now a little bit to try and see what I can do for that, you know.
What do you think that you did differently to where you started to create like that really great crew where they're all, you know, kind of like those people that you want them to be?
I'm sorry, say that again.
I said, what do you think that you did differently? Because you've accumulated all these great people. So you've kind of gotten down the hiring thing. It seems like you're being able to weed out more easily the people who are not going to work out. And so now you've got this great crew. So, what was that change for you?
So basically I found 3 of my guys from Indeed, my top 3 guys. And a lot of it is patience, you know. Whenever I have to hire under pressure, it rarely goes well. And so what I did, I think, differently this year was, instead of shutting off the ad totally, I paused it instead. And what that did was that allowed me to still continue to receive resumes as someone updated their resume. And so like the newest guy that I hired, he's from Wisconsin, and he had about 3 years experience, and he's turned out to be awesome. I mean, he's a young guy. He just had a baby. Him and his wife were going to have their first child. His dad and brother and some other family live here in Tucson, so that's why they moved, because they wanted the baby to be around family. And he just, that week he got here, he put an ad in Indeed, or put a resume up in Indeed. It popped up in my inbox. I saw his resume, and I said, well, he's none of the guys I've interviewed and got rid of, so let me give him a call. You know, and I wasn't desperate for hiring at that time, but he had kind of all the hallmarks of what I was looking for. I interviewed him. He had an awesome interview, just really down to earth, young guy, but still, you know, real responsible, polite, called me sir, you know. And so I hired him, and I mean, he has been dynamite. In fact, I even hired his brother, who had 0 experience, but you could tell that it was just the way their family are. You know, he just had the same qualities, just polite, hard worker. And so they're a team now, they're a crew. And his older brother is teaching the younger brother how to do the windows. And I got to work with them on a big hospital that we did. And I mean, he's only been with me a month, and that guy's, you know, the brother,
Sounds
picked
like
it
you're
up
gonna be
so
your
much.
general manager a year from now.
And maybe,
Yeah,
he will.
but based on what I'm
But-
hearing,
Yeah, he so that's I guess I've just been more patient and just kind of allowed the fishing line to sit in the pond a little longer and not just throw it in only when I need workers. The other thing that I really have stuck to and done pretty well, except for when I get desperate, is demand resumes, an actual resume from them. And what that seems to do is it weeds out the people who are just kind of lazy and they want a quick job. And if they really want to work for me, then if they don't have a resume, they're going to learn how to do a resume. And I always tell them, look, I don't need it to look professional or perfect. Just have a basic resume that shows me you figured out how to make a resume and you have references that I can call and verify, And so my insisting on that has helped kind of weed out a lot of the guys who are just going to be with me for a month and gone, or sometimes an hour and a half and gone. And then I think it's also made the people applying take my business more serious. That, oh, well, if they're asking for this, they're being picky. So they're trying to kind of rise up to meet my expectations on that.
Well, and having set criteria like that, that's one thing that we always did when we had the large janitorial company was we had set criteria for the interview.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the things that was actually part of the interview process to see if they followed instruction.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were to bring us, a resume, or they were to bring certain things with them, if they didn't have that, even on the interview, then we knew that we were looking at the wrong person because they weren't able to follow instruction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very key to somebody that's going to work for you. So, having something like this is a great way to, like you said, kind of weed out the ones that are just filling out, clicking on jobs.
Yep.
Now, does that help you have people not do the click? Because do you get charged?
No, I still get the clicks. Now, the thing that I did that minimizes that is I do say minimum 2 years experience required. I don't hold to that, but that hopefully chases off people who clean the windows at Burger King,
Yeah.
And then they try to put, oh, I know how to clean windows. Hopefully it'll scare off most of those. It doesn't always, but I figure if someone really wants the job and they feel they can do it, they're going to still send me a resume anyways, because they still can. It doesn't cut them off. But then that's when this is kind of the next step that I do. If they come in, they don't have, or they show kind of vague resume experience, it's not for a specific window cleaning company, but it's for a janitorial, or it's, Walmart or whatever. Then I start asking them, okay, so what are the brands you like to use? What's your favorite brands? And if they're not a window cleaner, they're going to say, oh, I use all of them. I like all of them. But if they're a window cleaner, they're going to say, oh, my favorite's Ettore, but I can use, Unger. I've used Unger before. Or for commercial, I prefer Sorbo, I prefer Warm. They'll start telling names. And if they're telling me those names, then I know, okay, this is a window cleaner. This is not someone who's trying to pretend to be a window cleaner. So,
yep.
Question for you, Gabe. Was that always your philosophy in terms of hiring people with experience? Because for us, it's always been hire people with no experience so that we can train them. Yeah. And I'm detecting the switch that you went from no experience to experience.
That's my
attitude.
attitude.
How do you incorporate that? How do you incorporate that with your current methods? And how has that worked? It seems to be working well.
Well, that's my method, or that's my strategy for Indeed. If I'm going to hire with no experience, then I try to hire off of reference. Like, for instance, I hired that worker's brother. I based that on his referral that he says, I asked him, how is your brother? Is he like you? Oh yeah, he's just as hard a worker as me. He's also really good with customers. He's going to fit in fine here. So I went off of his recommendation. So if I'm going to hire someone with no experience, I know enough friends and family who are business owners, not necessarily window cleaners, but business owners who kind of know what a good employee is. And so I call them up. Hey, do you know anybody, early 20s, strong back, who can work hard, who's got good personality, who will fit in with my company? And then I start getting names, and then I'll call them and do interviews. So if I'm a hire on no experience, I don't advertise for that. I'm not going to go down that road. Then you're going to be interviewing 200 people and try to whittle that down. So I'll go with about maybe 12 that I got from people who I know and trust, And then that's kind of a smaller pool if I'm gonna hire someone with no experience and train from the beginning. But that's what I'm talking about with Indeed. I just kind of let the hook out there. And that way, if someone who just like see, the problem with Tucson is there's so many companies hiring that we've all seen everybody's resumes in Tucson. I've already gone through, 40 different resumes. So every time I'm trying to look to hire, it's the same names. It's just the same names being recycled and floating around to the different companies. So I don't want none of them. So whenever I get a new name that came from out of town, or maybe just someone I don't recognize, then that's when I'm like, oh, I should call this guy and just grab them before one of these other companies get them. And maybe I don't have a lot of work from now, but when I do have work, then I got someone already. So that's kind of been my strategy with that. Anyways, so that's the business wise. So my family life, my daughter has had some health issues. And it's not anything I think that my wife and daughter would be comfortable talking about at this moment, but it's one of those things where it's not like her, she's in danger of anything serious, but it's really affected all of our lives. And she had a really bad experience with her schooling last year, and she was in a public school district, and the only school really that would accept her because it was kind of limited was a terrible school. And I just never had that experience, and my daughter I felt like I threw her to the wolves, and both students and teachers, and it was just a nightmare. So the summer was kind of a licking our wounds period, and we honestly did not know what to do because we were not going to send her there, and we couldn't afford to send her to a private school or anything like that. So we're trying to figure out what we were going to do, and it just so happened my wife found a school literally 10 minutes away we had never ever heard of, but they cater to students who have IEPs, which are like the specialized what are they called, where they make not allowances, what's the other word for it, accommodations. They make accommodations for students with disabilities and stuff like that. So we applied, we got in, there was only one spot left. We got the spot. And then my daughter qualified for a grant from the state, and that paid our tuition for that school. And it has been night and day. She told us, because she has a disability, specifically towards math, and she got an A- in math this semester, and
nice.
or quarter, I should say. And she said, I didn't know I was smart. She told me that.
Oh.
And you hear that, it breaks your heart.
Yeah.
Because we know she's brilliant. She's really, really smart. She's artistic. She's everything. Just math is just difficult for her, So that has been a huge thing, to be able to guide her and get more specific diagnosis and more things to kind of help us to be more specific in how we were getting her the help. But the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because all the trying to deal with the school district in the first half of the year, and then the second, the work to get into the school she's in now, and to help her to get through all the trauma of the past school and to now be succeeding in the new school. I could not do that if I was in a regular 9-to-5 job, only because I have my business, that I could take the days off when I needed to work and do that, and to make the calls and to fill out the forms and to go on the visits and to get the diagnosis from this, doctor over here. And, it was like my wife and I were on the phone or in a meeting at least every other day. And if I were stuck in a regular 9-to-5 where I had to be in the office somewhere, my wife would have had to shoulder that whole thing herself, and it would have just been way too much for her. It would have been unfair. She would have done it, obviously, because it's her daughter, but to be able to share that load together and to be on those meetings with my wife, talking to the people, I'm just really appreciative for this industry that my business could be in that spot where I could do that, and the business went on without me, and it was fine, and then I could come back and check in, and answer the questions and do the things, call the customers that needs to be called and all that stuff, and then go back and be with my family. So I'm just really grateful for that aspect of it, and glad that I'm a part. So
it's so great to hear that your daughter's doing so much better, and that you guys found the right school. Or our son has some learning differences too, and it's definitely always like you have to be your kid's advocate all the time. And you know, like you said, the meetings, jumping through hoops, all this kind of stuff. But once you find the right school, I guess in our experience, it's like things just start getting so much better. And it feels so great to have like the school advocating for your child with you all of a sudden.
Yes. No, that was really hard. I told my wife that I had never, ever thought that a teacher would not have my daughter's best interests in mind. And that had always been my experience, you know. Even the teachers who I thought were mean, I never would have thought they didn't want me to succeed in some way. And she went to the school, and they were almost actively trying to put her in the worst spot possible for her, you know, and offered zero help, not even at our pleading, not even though they had federally mandated IEP telling them they needed to give help, you know. So it's one of those things that you experience as a parent that you're just glad when it's over and we can kind of go forward now, you know. So yeah. Well, why don't we head on over to the Vandermeers here? How are you guys doing? How's everything going business wise and your new venture and how that's turning out?
Good. So we started a second business. It's a software business for Christmas light rendering. That has been an adventure all in itself. I feel like just like window cleaning was like a crash course when we started years and years ago. This kind of business it's similar in those ways, and then trying to like divide our time. We've definitely have felt ourselves very, very stretched. Our window cleaning business, on a positive note, has increased its sales this year by right about 40%, which is great.
That's awesome.
We had slower growth the previous 2 years, but we thought that was becoming like the norm. And so we were really surprised to see that.
We haven't been in business much longer than Joel, like 2 years more, 7 going on 8. We're still struggling with some things with the window cleaning business. You described a 9 to 5 earlier, and that's what I feel like we built for ourselves, except it's from 5 to 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. And so our challenge is to try to work ourselves out of the field.
Yes.
And it feels like that's been our challenge for the last couple of years. And it's something that we're really struggling with because, like you said, Gabe, we've got kids and we need that time. I mean, we have one daughter who's going to be looking at colleges here. She's already looking at colleges. She's going to be out.
Yeah. Next year is her senior year.
So that's just mind blowing. And then we have, another daughter who's going to be a sophomore, and then it's just going by too fast. And we're trying to figure out how to not build ourselves into more work in a way that it's like a 9 to 5. Right. Still struggling with employees in a certain way, finding good employees.
But it's gotten a lot better.
It has gotten better.
And I would also say that our current crew are some of the best window cleaners we've ever had the privilege of working with.
Yeah.
They are efficient. I mean, like I said, our productivity has just gone through the roof. Yeah. It's been great. And coincidentally, they're all female.
Right.
And none of them is taller than 5'2".
Well, we learned
just need extra ladders.
We learned the impact of the absence of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And we had hired Sarah's cousin a while back, and there was a lot of back and forth. We were regularly communicating our needs, trying to achieve a certain level of efficiency and productivity, and just couldn't get above a certain number. And he provided a lot of great reasons as to why that wasn't possible, or that he felt wasn't possible. But as soon as that separation occurred, it started happening. And with this,
The work culture improved, everything improved.
with the female, no less. And I'm saying that because it surprised us, because we were initially under the impression that we had to hire somebody who could wield a heavy ladder, and you know what I mean. It's hard work, but they've taken it on, and what skills they tend to lack in terms of heavy ladder work, they have pushed themselves to learn pole, water-fed pole work and traditional pole work. So they filled in the gap, and there's some power when you hire people that are good friends. So these two ladies happen to be the best of friends, and they work so well together, very efficient. They're, anticipating each other's needs. They're just working together, and it's like.
And the third one gets along with the first two, and so that's been such a blessing. But yeah, what they can't. The things that they can't do, they compensate with having really, really good skills. And we're looking at hiring. We've decided for this coming year, the best thing to do is to actually hire 4 part-timers instead of 2 more full-timers. So we can have like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday group, and then a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday group. That'll give us an extra day of the week, which increases income. And then at the same time, we're not stuck in this situation where somebody calls out and we're having to immediately move mountains to figure it out. And we've also realized that we absolutely have to get out of the field. We're not, I love window cleaning. I do it all day, every day, and so does Phebe. But we've realized when it comes to leadership and things like that, there's something to be said about having that managerial position in between you and your employees.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that, employees, I think, have a really hard time understanding why you do what you do, and that it's your company. But if they have that kind of like meeting in between, and we do explain to them and stuff, but it's good to have that barrier, I think.
It protects our employees from the fierce intensity that of Mama Bear, Papa Bear. This is our baby type. I think our employees feel it when we're there. Like, we are so intense with that type A personality kind of.
Yeah, we get hung up on perfectionism. Yeah. It's definitely, we call it first child syndrome. And we're both first children in our families. And so
I guess recognizing that
we're getting in our own way.
Yeah.
So that's half the battle.
Plus we want to travel more and do stuff.
Sorry. Yeah. How often do you guys let your crews go out on their own without you guys being present?
All the time.
Well,
they work alone I would say 99% of the time.
So occasionally so when you guys go out and do jobs, you guys go as a pair and with no employees?
I have one helper that helps me. She kind of goes back and forth between the teams, and then Sarah helps me as well. It's not so much the fact that we're working with them all the time. It's that I think that since Sarah and I are working so much, there's that, morale. We're not necessarily bringing a super excited vibe to the workplace. I mean, we do what we have to do to get the job done. Clients are typically happy, and they don't notice it. The clients don't notice it. It's the technicians that notice it, and we're coming to that realization that it's not necessarily something we're aware of. It's kind of like it's a blind side that we have that you're
carrying a weight that they don't.
Right.
That's what it is. You're doing exactly what they're doing. But you've also got to figure out, you're thinking of 100 other things that are going on with the business that they don't have to worry about.
That's exactly it. And so sometimes I say, if there's something I forgot to acknowledge with you guys or something, please let me know, because it's usually because I'm trying to do 20 things at the same time. But I think you guys are wonderful and stuff. Or sometimes I am running in between jobs trying to help wherever I can, and I'll show up at one job and I'll see like, oh man, this isn't done right. I'll be like, hey guys, I kind of need you to fix this. but you're doing great.
Yeah.
And then I'm gone again, and they're like, you know.
Sarah.
You know what?
Another reason why we think part-time might be beneficial as well, because it might be a good way to preserve, to protect morale,
Yeah.
because it's such a physically intensive job as well. So like maybe bringing people in 3 days out of the week, you know, that sense of urgency is no longer a part of the equation, you know? So we're kind of experimenting, thinking out loud. These are some things that we've kind of thrown at the wall, seeing if it sticks, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I tell all my employees, whether they're in the crew or in the office, I tell them, if you're ever wondering if I'm upset with you, I'm not. Because if I'm mad at you, you will know that I'm upset with you. I will tell you, there will be no question, you know. And I try to be, of course, if I let them know that I'm upset, I try to do it in a very, kind way as much as I can. But I'm like, if I'm not telling you I'm mad at you, then I'm not mad at you. I'm just busy. I'm a very serious person when I'm working. I get in work mode, and I'm okay with this, and this, and this, and I go down the line, and I'm not always about niceties when I'm in that mode. So it's nothing about you. It's not, or if I point something out that you should have done that you didn't do, it's not because I'm mad that you didn't do it. It's just I want to make sure you do it. That's
Right.
all,
Exactly.
And
And I think since we're working entirely with women, they also have a hard time sometimes letting us know things that they would like to see. And so even though we're saying, yes, tell us, we want to know. And whenever they do, we immediately just, get it done. Hey, you want to try this poll? Great. Done. We've bought it. Oh, hey, you want to start having a job at the very end of the day that's not as intense as the morning ones? Perfect. Done. Got it. But I think even then, there's always like that hesitation. And part of it's because we are the owners. And I think if there's like that managerial position in between, then they're going to the manager saying, hey, I'd like this, with the idea of like, this person's also an employee. And then they're communicating that to us. And we realized that if we get him out of the field and just hire more part-timers, we will literally be making more money. We're our own roadblock. So.
I was going to say that I've only ever had one full-time employee, and it's fantastic because you got somebody that shows up every single day and they're consistent and it's great. But the other two employees that we have, they're both part-time. And I think that everybody should have a mix of full-time and part-time, because what's great about the part-time employees is usually if they're part-time, they don't need the income as much. Maybe they have something going on in their life that takes them away and they can't. And so what I talked about before about not having work going into the winter, it's not as big of an issue with the part-time people, because whatever commercial route work that I have, I'm just going to let them do it. And if it's 1 day, 2 days for the whole week, they're happy. They're missing 1 day of work, not a big deal. Another thing is that we're going through some terrible weather right now. And if they're flexible with their days and you can shift it around, it helps out so much with scheduling, being able to be flexible so you can move support where it's at. If you got full-time, it's incredible. You never work alone. You've consistently got support, but it's a really good thing to have part-time mixed in there, because you're able to shift manpower where it's needed. That pressure as an employer of consistently providing work isn't as strong, because if they want and that what they're looking for is part-time employment, they're not going to complain about as much if you tell them they have more free time. They're actually probably going to enjoy it. So I think having a mix is an incredible way to alleviate stress on yourself as an employer.
Plus, window cleaning is such a back-breaking job. I mean, there's days where I might sometimes like water fed polling all day or something like that, and then trying to do some ladder work, and I feel like my shoulders are going to fall off. And that's not so bad when you're doing it for a few days in a row. But once you are having to put in those extra Saturdays because you're behind or whatever, and it's like weeks and weeks, it grinds on you, and we can see it in our full timers when things get really, really busy and it becomes more stressful for them. So I think having that mix of part-time mixed in there really gives people that opportunity to kind of recuperate. Plus, we're not getting any younger. We're starting to feel the effects.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, we got the Mandalorian. We saved him for last. So how are you doing, buddy? How's everything going?
Busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been super busy. I guess I hate to say this based on everything what I've heard, but my guys, I've been out of the field a lot more this year, a lot more. And a lot of it has to do with, family issues with my daughter and being in the hospital and all that. I've managed to separate my 4-man crew into certain jobs, 3-man crews, send a solo guy out, and they're super comfortable with it. Jobs where we've had, buildings that used up 4 guys are down to 3 guys now, and they're still knocking it out the ballpark and getting off early. So I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. So that's giving me the leeway to be able to stay away. This job you see on my background here, we were there the week of Thanksgiving. We didn't work Thanksgiving, but we worked 3 days that week. And then I wasn't really doing much. I was more like just helping out, making sure things were getting done. They're setting up properly. If somebody needed one of their pressure washers run out of gas, I'll be there replacing it. So they didn't have to get off the lifts. They were just, everybody was rotating, working properly. And we got this job done in record time.
Awesome.
Efficiency, that's one thing I've built. And that's one thing I've been investing all year long. And it's proven to me that hard work has paid off. My efficiency skills have paid off, and I'm still working on them, tweaking things here and there. My van is the one I'm currently working on. But I think one of my other challenges too is going to be hiring. And based on what I'm hearing, I think I'm going to also be leaning towards the part-timer, maybe 3 days a week, just because we are in the end of year season now. Usually starting the first quarter is somewhat slow for us. I don't know how it's going to start. There are 2 big contracts waiting. So that's a good thing. But because from previous experiences, I know that January, February, March, they're always kind of slow. We'll work 3-4 days out of the week if we're lucky. If it's not raining, California rain, 10% chance of rain, and everybody wants to cancel. But yeah, my team, I have no complaints. I don't have. I'm not on top of them as much as being that boss lead. They know if they do something wrong, they're gonna hear it from me. I don't have to tell them. If they do something wrong on the job, they know they're gonna hear it from me. I think that's the part where they're always striving to get things done right, so they don't have to deal with me. I'm not strict, but they know. Oh, the boss needs to talk to you. Oh man, I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? So they try to avoid that on the job. And even my guys, because on a job, all 3 of them are held accountable. Now, if somebody did something wrong that was really their fault and nobody else saw it, then I won't hold them all accountable for it. But if the team's working on a job site and they assign each other, hey, they rotate themselves too. Like on the commercial jobs, oh, you're doing bullshit this week. Next service, you're gonna do boom. So they rotate, whatever task that they have. There's rope work that they need to do. There's balcony work, a lot of railing glass. So they said, hey, this time around, you're gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. Next service, and they've been doing it. And I didn't even know about that. I thought it was just the same guy working on the outside, working on the inside, and then all this. I'm like, whoa, you guys got a little good, cool system. So when I decide I want to come into work, no, just stay away, man. Let us do our thing, and we don't need you on the job. I'm like, okay, wait a minute. So I'll drive by. Where are these guys? Oh, there they are. Oh, yeah.
Right, because you've got the Mandalorian ready to show up when necessary, right?
I show up with my helmet. Like,
enforce it.
What did I do now?
Yeah.
No, I mean,
they don't want to meet the Mandalorian. They want to keep him happy.
They do, yeah. No, they're I take care of my guys. That's one thing. Companies that I've talked to in the past, and they tell me things. The first thing to if you want to know something about a company, talk to the employees, right? because it's, it's all about, do we look after our employees? They're just not someone there that's going to generate more money for us. You want to keep them happy. They have families too. They have wants too. I spoil my guys a lot. Why do I do that? Because I know that the efforts they put on day in, day out, every single day throughout the year. And this year has been the busiest for us. And I haven't been as active in the field a lot. And I mean, what else can I say? Efficiency has really paid off. It has really paid off for me.
I'm not even exaggerating, Nando. I want to see you teach a course on efficiency at one of the IWCA conventions. I think you would do an awesome job.
The only thing that holds me back a lot right now is just, dealing with my daughter's health issues. She's what, we're in December 12th already. So she's just about a month fresh out of a hospital. She was a 30-day hold in the hospital. She was really bad with, you guys know her story. That's the only difficult part. And me getting away from the home, it's like, it just puts a lot of weight on my shoulders. Like, okay, are they going to be okay? And she can get sick from one minute to another. But it is something, I've thought about, preaching and showing, because my pictures, my work is a result of efficiency. What do I need to do to get things done right? Efficiency. How much has your efficiency? It costs me thousands of dollars, but I can show up to a job site and I can make that money back in a quickness. So I got another big plan for next year. It's going to be a whole new add-on business. I don't know if I'm going to keep it under the same business name or it's going to be something new, but I'm not going to share too many details yet. But that's my next goal. I need to do something with, and then the building part, building these RODI systems. I need to stay active. So I'm looking forward to the 23rd because we're taking the whole week off and I'm going to start building some things for some guys out here.
What are some of the things you do to spoil your employees?
Well, for one, cash bonuses. Oh, wait, did I say that? Beep. Cash bonuses. When we go to certain job sites, I'm constantly taking them out to lunch. I'll take them. Hey, you know what? We're going to take a 2-hour lunch. There's a little arcade place right here. Let's go have some fun. Like Santa Monica Pier. They have that. There's a lot of restaurants there. We'll go out and depending on what we're doing, but I'll take them out, spoil them. I'll buy them little gifts, see things that I need. For instance, a lot of them, when they're on the job, here, give me 1 second. When they're on the job, I see a lot of my guys, not every single one has a pair of headphones. I don't like them wearing the in-ear headphones just because some of them turn their volumes up. And when I'm trying to catch their attention, they can't hear me. Or even if it's just a standard headphone, they're still going to put you in a position. So got these little, I think I won these on one of those raffles on ITF.
Yeah.
Remember these?
Oh, the aftershocks?
Yeah,
I have some of those.
So one of them got a pair because he was the only one without headphones. So I got him some. He was happy. Little external speaker. So when he's hanging on a chair, he can hang it and listen to his music off of his thing. So he doesn't have headphones on. And just find things that what they like. All my guys are guys. And, they love the activities that I do on my personal time off. So I'll invite them with me. Like, hey, you know what? Let's go out of the desert. We're going to go out hunting, looking for deer. No, I don't hunt. Just finding what they like to do, or something, when we went to Orlando, I paid for their skydiving. What else? So I'm taking them, the whole crew's going this year to the IWCA convention.
I get to see them again. That was fun in Orlando.
Yeah, they told me all about it. And I left them a big cash withdrawal there. I said, look, guys, I got to fly back and, you guys enjoy yourselves, have fun. I think
they did.
I think they only spent like $300 out of that cash expense I left them. And they're like, you know what? We didn't really need it. We had a good time and everybody.
Well, that's because once you get all the IWCA board members drinking for a while, they're getting really generous with their wallets.
Right. Exactly. That's what they said. Like, you know what, man? The IWCA board members, everybody I've met, they're so generous, man. They kept buying us drinks, taking us to eat. We didn't even have to spend our money. I said, those are friends that you have right there. People that will treat you places, they'll take you places, they'll teach you, they'll guide you. I said, those are the friends that you want. People that are you respect them, they're gonna respect you, they're gonna give you your back, and they're there for you regardless. And that's what we do. But Yep. Efficiency is one thing I preach. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody has the time for it, but we have to make the time for ourselves. We have to make the time to look at our business and say, evaluate and pinpoint what's going wrong. What am I doing wrong? What do I need to do?
Yep.
Where do I need to stop? And that's it. And then you have to work from there forward. Now, if you know in the back of your head, okay, well, this is what's wrong with my business. This is what I'm doing wrong, but you're not doing anything to correct it, it's never going to change. And change happens with one. And that's where I took advantage and, I started building my trucks until today, now there's going to be some new modifications to it, but more efficiency on the job.
Nice.
And I think that's where I'm at. There's nothing much more new. Haven't hired no new guys yet. But here we are, another year, saying goodbye to 2022 and looking forward to 2023.
Crazy.
Now.
Well, we do want to get on because we're already an hour into it. Of course, we all get together. We could just pretty much talk all night. We always enjoy chatting with each other. But we don't want to end this podcast before we announce the winners of the Flowmie of the Year Awards. So for those who don't know, last year was our kind of inaugural Flowmie of the Year Award. It's an award given to individuals who are part of the Into the Flow group, who exhibit the characteristics of that identify us as the mission that we have, which of course is positivity, it's education, it's safety, and philanthropy. And so not all of us do all of those things all the time. Sometimes there are different aspects of it, but as a whole, we hope that all the members of Into the Flow group promote these aspects of our group throughout wherever they may go, whether it's in the group itself, or it's as a part of their business, or it's a part of another organization like the IWCA. And so we want to recognize individuals who demonstrate those qualities and make sure they understand that they're appreciated, because typically the people who do exhibit these qualities, they're not going to be the kind of the showy people who are out, hey, look at me, look what I've done. They're generally the people who are content to kind of sit on the sidelines and just kind of put their head down, do the work, help the people they can. And, and that's great, but we just want to make sure that they know that they're appreciated and that we respect all the hard work that they've done and how much that they've helped others too. So let's go ahead and start. Kevin, you had nominated Chris Hartley as your Flowmie of the Year winner. So would you tell us a little bit about him and just kind of why you nominated him?
Yeah, I've had a privilege of chatting with Chris on and off the group. We'll message every once in a while about submission, just questions and things to talk about. And one of the things that I've always noticed in the group is not that there's ever I hate to say there's bad questions, but all his questions seem to be really thought out. So it's not like, how can I just do something really simple? It's what
would you bid on this window?
Exactly. It's more of, okay, so what's the best way to attack this particular job, or how can I improve type of questions, which is always good when you see someone that is seeking to improve. One of the quotes that I love, one of my favorites, is Jeffrey Gitomer said, people who are arrogant and cocky say, I know that, and move on. People who are successful ask, how good am I at that, and seek to improve. And I feel that that's one thing that Chris does, is he's always seeking to improve. And then when other people have questions, he's always there with a positive comment. And, just having that positivity in the group, obviously that's one thing that we have always strived for, and we eliminate the negativity anytime that we see it pop up. And it's refreshing to have somebody there that you don't have to worry about. So those were a couple things that stood out to me as far as, Chris's participation in the group. And I just felt that he exemplified what we were all here for, and that's to help each other and get better at what we do, build people up, not tear them down. So he was my nomination, and I'm working on a special award just for Chris. We'll talk about it when we get done and we get all the awards for this year, kind of, but
Right.
figured out. But I'm working on one. We'll talk about it. I'm not going to say what it is, and, but it's going to be good.
Awesome. Can't wait to see that. Yeah, you know what I like about Chris too, because we've DM'd each other. I'm sure he's DM'd with you guys as well. There's sometimes people who will DM you who don't really have a lot of respect for your time.
Yep.
And hey, look, they have honest questions. Sometimes they're just excited. It's all it is. It's enthusiasm. And so, I'm trying to have my day and run my business and take care of my family and all that.
Okay, all right.
I just don't want to say it out loud, but but Chris is always, when he asks you the questions, it's always with a purpose, kind of like what you mentioned. It's for a specific reason. It's not just a general chat. So he's wanting information, but then he gets it, and if he has follow-up questions, he'll ask him. But then it's like, okay, he's good, and he goes on. He'll apply that information to whatever the situation was, and so it shows a lot of respect, and it shows, like you mentioned, just a desire to want to improve. And
yep.
I mean, that's awesome. Those types of people you want to help whenever you can, because they appreciate it. And no doubt they're also going to be the people to pass that on to others when someone needs that information.
Yeah, apply it.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, our next one. So Corey Klimas was nominated by Mike Schneider, and we all agreed that Corey's is an awesome recipient. He's those who know, he's one of our moderators here in the group. He wasn't able to be with us today, but he certainly exemplifies that. So we're going to have Joel Lamb. He's going to talk to us a little bit about why Corey's a wonderful nominee and why we gave him the award this year.
Well, I'd like to say that I had the privilege of meeting Corey in person at the IWCA convention this year. And just when you meet him, you automatically recognize that he is a humble, cool dude. We walked around to the different booths together, checked out the Unger booths, and we're using different tools. And we even competed alongside each other in the speed contest. And Corey is a person that really does exemplify the spirit of what we're trying to do at Into the Flow, be educational, be positive. Throughout the years that Corey's been a moderator, some of the things that he's helped promote and had an active part in promoting is like our physical well-being. It's not specifically about window cleaning, but Corey has always taken parts when we tried to do some of the past Flowmie workout challenges. And even on his own, he's posted videos about doing stretches and taking care of your health. And it's really important because Corey, when he does post on Into the Flow, it's never look at me, look at what I've done. It's either something educational, it's something positive, like he was cleaning windows with a mask on a couple months ago, and it was hilarious. And it's just stuff. It's part of the reason why people, I feel, come to Into the Flow, because it does. It's a beacon of positivity on the internet, especially. Corey, he's also somebody that has handled situations that might come up as a moderator. Sometimes people in the Into the Flow group don't always act the way that maybe we're expecting or requiring of them, their behavior. Maybe it's interactions between them and somebody else as a part of the group, or maybe they've broken the rules that we've set out. And a few times I've had the privilege of being a part of the moderator conversation where we're talking about how are we going to handle this. And when Corey has handled these situations, he does it. I mean, it is like, it's awesome. He really sets the example. You don't fight fire with fire necessarily. If somebody is being rude, you don't be rude back to them. You be professional, you be courteous, and you, by your actions, display what they should have been doing. And it's encouraging positivity, not dragging other people down. I know Kevin gave a statement and about one of the quotes that he likes. One of the ones that I like is, Never argue with an idiot. They will drag you down into the mud and beat you with years of experience. And I've never seen Corey do that. He may have wanted to, but he did not. So Corey really exemplifies the spirit of why we love being a part of this.
I agree.
There's two things I wanted to mention about Corey. If you remember from the last roundtable that we did, the year-end roundtable, Corey was very open about his struggles with alcoholism. And at that time, he was just, I think, maybe 2 months of having a control over it, you know. And when we had the IWC convention in Florida, I got to run with him. During the run, we had a really nice conversation about just his determination to stay clean and to have the balance that's needed, you know. And so I just want to mention, we want to remember he's lasted that whole time. You know, we're going into a year from that good decision, and he's holding fast on that. And that's really to be commended for him. So
yeah, if I had to describe Corey in one word, it would be passionate.
Okay.
Whatever he's doing, whatever he's talking about, he's extremely passionate about it. Sometimes I wish I was that passionate about certain things. I can be more matter of fact or indifferent to some things, and so yeah, if I had to describe him in one word, it would be passionate.
Well, that's the second thing I wanted to mention about him is, you know, oftentimes we get a post in and we've got to determine as a group, hey, do we want this post to go through or not? And generally speaking, most of the time there are things that one mod can make a decision and it's done. There was an instance where one of our members had posted a picture, and it was a picture that could have been unsafe, you know. And I think I had sent a message to the group. It was real early or something, and no one had responded. So I went ahead and removed the picture. And Corey was really upset, and not just necessarily because I made a decision apart from the group. He was upset because he was worried that Flowmie, who made that post, might have been hurt or offended that we took down that picture. And he did, like Kevin said, he just made a very passionate defense for the inclusion of this picture. And I ended up writing an apology to the guy, and I sent him and I said, I'm sorry I took it down. I didn't think it was a big deal, you know, and it really wasn't. He didn't even know what happened. He didn't even know we had taken it down. But he helped me to see in that particular instance that there was more things to think about other than just a black and white decision. And I made what I thought was the safe decision. Corey wanted us to make the decision that was kind of had the justice behind it. You know, he was looking at it through the eyes of the poster, and I was looking at it through the eyes of a mod. And so I think that's what's really cool about our group of moderators is we've got all those different perspectives that we can all throw together, and we come out with whatever comes out is been thought of, you know. And we don't always make the right decision, but I think, you know, we're a good 98%, I'd say, a success rate. And so he's a big part of that, is his not being afraid to speak up for things that are important to him. And that helps us to have the flavor that we have in the group with everybody's opinions and everyone's ideas and thoughts in that. So he's absolutely a vital part in a way that I don't think a lot of people who are Flowmies realize. So, all right.
Awesome guy.
I
hope he comes to the convention. I think he's not, right?
No, he's not going to be able to make this one.
Yeah,
my daughter's birthday. I remember now.
Yeah, it's a bummer. We're going to miss him this year, but he said that you could run with me, Nando. So in place of him,
I'm gonna go buy me a pair of rollerblades, and I haven't rollerbladed in over 20 years, I think.
Oh man,
I think I'll risk doing that instead of running.
There you go. That's probably a good policy. All right. Well, next we have Dan Renard. Dan has been in the group almost from the beginning. I don't know if it's exactly from the beginning, but pretty early on. And if you know Dan, he is just one of those guys. He is just a big, lovable bear. I first met him. We did a charity clean in Savannah. And I talked to him on ITF for probably a year and a half already. So I knew him in that sense. But to work with him, and now you want to talk about passion, he's got passion in a different way. He has a drive to help people and to support organizations that help people. And I just can't, until you talk with him and you have dinner with him and you see how much it influences everything he does in his life, from his family to the friends he makes to the things he does, even on vacation, he's thinking about how can this help other people. And in the group, you ever see him comment, it's going to be a positive comment. It's going to be a supportive comment. He's always there to not only just lend to, comfort someone or to offer a word of encouragement, but he's always good for a laugh too. He's one of the funnier Flowmies that we have in our group. And his personality is almost, that is what you would, if you think of a Flowmie, that's who you think of. Is just someone who is giving, kind, is not afraid to laugh at himself, but at the heart, he wants to help other people. And that's why we wanted to nominate Dan. He's just been an exemplary person of someone who's unselfish and has a lot of reasons to not be, and yet he's still, that's who he is. He's just someone who wants to give. And
if you ever want a really good time, come to the IWCA convention and hang out with Dan.
Get dinner with Dan at the IWCA.
Yeah, he is so passionate about being there, and just, you'll never see him without a smile on his face. And it is just, if you're having a bad day, just go see Dan. It's all good.
I think we're gonna have to make a class, dance therapy sessions.
Dance therapy.
There you go.
Dance couch.
I feel like, dinner with Dan sounds good.
Dinner with Dan.
I think that could be a thing.
That
might be a thing.
Podcast.
Yeah.
We can add it as an auction item for the IWC.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. $150 credits with Dan Renard.
There you go. There you go.
There you
I
go.
love it. I love it. I'm sure we could convince him to do that too. Okay, our next winner is Luis Martinez, and we're going to have Phebe. He's going to share with us why he was nominated.
Well, I want to apologize right now. I thought we were nominating the Silly Goose Award.
We are.
I didn't.
Oh, his award
We
will
are.
say silly
We just
goose
had
on
to
it. I
be,
guarantee
we
you
had to be
that.
somewhat correct with it and say that it was actually a Flowmie award, but it's the Silly Goose Award.
I appreciate y'all making me feel better about that. I nominated Luis because he also stands out for me in terms of the core values of what we have at ITF. He's positive. He really promotes safety, philanthropy, and community. One of the things that I have taken note of is that there's a real gap in the Spanish-speaking community in terms of safety. And so I've seen him make an effort to share some videos and some translations to help safety go deeper into the Spanish community, because right now I think we all know that it's, OSHA is not written, it doesn't necessarily, it's not translated very well. And so he has taken and made an effort to train his people in terms of safety, as well as help to just highlight, help to translate with folks, make it more accessible, which is huge, because right now there's a large community that can go through the OSHA training, but not necessarily understand it very in depth how important it is. And so he's making a good push in that direction. There was a couple of posts that I've seen him do where he has made the effort to share free cleans for folks in his community. So he recognizes that perhaps, clean windows aren't necessarily a luxury for just anyone that can, just those that can afford it. It's like, hey, I'm sharing this luxury feeling with you, the feeling of clean windows. And he's made it a point to try to give that gift of that feeling to folks that may not be able to afford it. And he also tells a nice little story about some kids who not kids, but 18, 19-year-old kids that beat him out on it was like a $3 bid. And instead of being frustrated and irritated about the fact that he missed out on this bid, it helped to remind him what it was like to keep grinding, to stay, to not let yourself be complacent. And so he's taken it upon himself to continue to mentor these kids that are out there just grinding, and he's kind of helping with that energy, and he's helping to guide other cleaners in the community, basically. And so that's mainly why I wanted to nominate Luis. He's always been a funny and caring person from my perspective, and I think that he helps to make Into the Flow what it is. So, yeah.
Oh, he's funny, all right. What did you get into? When did you get in a conversation with him after he's had 3 or 4 whiskey sours?
Silly goose.
He's a perfect example too of someone that that you talk to and you provide educational information, advice, and all that, and he applies it. He goes out there and he applies it. He's one of those other guys, along with other members of the ITF, that have done it and have proven that it's helped. And now I'm going to turn around and go help someone else. So that's the type of chain ITF is built for.
Yeah.
Or we're trying.
One other thing too about
we're already at 935 people.
Yep, 935. But one other thing about his outreach efforts with the Spanish speaking community, he's already had he's posted videos on YouTube for the IWCA, and he's getting they're coming back to him. They're not messaging the IWCA asking for information. They're messaging him. So he's almost kind of become this liaison for the IWCA, and he's got these single owner operators who never in a million years would have ever thought to why join the IWCA, and he's helped them to see that there's a place for them in this organization, even if they may be just single owner operator or maybe only have 2 other employees besides himself. There's a group of Spanish business owners within the IWCA that they can turn to for mentorship, and that's been this is just the start. I mean, we've got other plans for 2023. But to be able to reach that crowd, not only for the safety act, but just to help them to learn how to get the education to be profitable business owners that they need. I mean, it's going to change, and starting with the efforts that Luis is putting forth. So I mean, that's pretty awesome. Pretty excited to see what's going to have to come about. All right, so our next winner was Brandy Harper. So we're going to have Sarah share a little bit about the stuff that Brandy does. Not many people may know her. She's been a Flowmie for a little while, but we're going to have Sarah share why she's deserving of this award.
So, like Gabe was saying, not everyone knows Brandy, but Brandy is a absolute powerhouse that has helped the window cleaning industry in such amazing ways, and she does it so modestly. She is one of the members of the IWCA board, and she works tirelessly on everything from membership to helping with posting and creating just like a lot of the work that goes into the convention to everything. She is doing it. And not only that, but she is the owner of her company, Halo, which is a really large company, and she's making it all happen. She's a single mom of 2 amazing boys. And just to give you an idea of how selfless she is, very sadly, her mother passed away last year. And even during some of these very difficult times, she's been there for the window cleaning industry day in and day out, pushing to make things happen. And so, and she doesn't post a lot about herself. Everything she posts is IWCA related, stuff to promote the industry, stuff to promote safety. And, she's I think sometimes people like her, they don't expect a pat on the back. They don't expect that recognition, and they often don't get it. But I think we felt as a group that somebody needs to say, hey, this lady is doing amazing and huge things, and we need to acknowledge her in that. And I've met her quite a few times now. I interviewed her company for one of these podcasts, and she even made the time to come meet with me in Texas. So, they live, I think, out in Georgia, but she actually came out, because they travel and do window cleaning, sat with me, and we had this amazing conversation. And she is nonstop. There is no quit in her. I wish I could be more like her, for sure.
Yeah. Brandy's she sure does fly under the radar, but Brandy, you have been exposed.
Yeah, and most people for sure don't see everything that she does.
Mm-mm.
She's on the board. She's on the executive board for the IWCA. So she will be president in a few years, and she does a lot of work. She's on almost every committee. She co-chairs the social media committee with me. She's on the membership committee. She co-chairs that convention committee, and she does a ton of work. And I was talking to Joe the other day about he does a lot of the stuff for the convention too. And I'm like, man, I don't even know how you keep it up. And he just sent one word: Brandy. So, there's just a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. Brandy doesn't like the spotlight. I pinned her down to a couple of pictures last year at the convention, and that's about all you're going to get. And she'll never be one to talk about herself. But again, from most people, you may not even know that she's in the group, because she's generally pretty quiet on social media. But there's a lot that goes on in the window cleaning community that she's a part of that, again, most people will just never see.
Yep. And we try to do work in conjunction with the IWCA, and we know, as anything with Into the Flow, if we need something from IWCA, we ask Brandy, because we know it's going to get done. We can send emails to a bunch of other people, but if we send one to Brandy, it's going to get done. It'll get to the right person that needs to get that email. So we really appreciate everything that she's done for the group. So awesome. Okay, so our next one is Mike Schneider. So Mike, so he's got a unique situation. He was one of the original Flowmies. He came pretty early in. And if you know Mike, he's just one of those super nice guys. Just one of the guys that if you were to meet like at, your kids playing football, and you're talking with dad, you're like, oh, that's the guy I want to go hang out with. I want him to come over and have a barbecue at my house with my family. Super nice, friendly. Now, Mike is no longer cleaning windows. So he had been a window cleaner, owned the company for a long time. He had this vision of starting this junk place, right? It's what's it called? I forget. It's like,
I think it's Junk Squad, maybe.
Junk Squad.
Yeah.
I think it is Junk Squad. So he started from scratch, and from all appearances, he is doing really well. He's enjoying it. It was a change of pace that he needed. Now, most people, once your company is no longer a window cleaning, you wouldn't feel a really need to be around other window cleaners anymore. You certainly wouldn't feel a need to mentor other window cleaners anymore, or to offer opinions or guidance, and certainly not stay in a group and participate that has nothing to do with your current industry. But that's not who Mike is. Mike, like Dan, is just one of those, the giving is inside of him, and he wants to be where the positivity is at. And he says, and I think he even wrote it in the comment section on their nomination post. He says, y'all are gonna have to kick me out, because he loves the feel, he loves the people in the ITF, and he loves the general vibe. And so even though he's no longer in our industry, his desire to be a part of, one, helping others, but two, to be a part of the successes of the people that he's known. I was DMing with him after the nomination, and he was just thanking us for thinking about him. And I said, man, you're such a part of our group, and he just was, he exudes what the group is. And so he wants to stay a part of it in that way, and I mean, what is that? That's unselfish. That's someone who is just giving of himself. He's a busy, man. He's a husband, he's a father. He's got a lot of things that he's got going on in his life other than just business stuff. And yet he wants to be a part of this. And he keeps saying, he's like, oh, I can't wait till one of these days my wife gets to meet all of you guys who I keep telling everybody about, because they all know, they know his name's, several different Flowmies. He's like, I'm telling her, she probably, knows you guys better than most people would, because I tell them about you guys all the time. And so, hey, we're part of his family already. So we might as well keep him as part of our family as long as we can. And
one of these days I'm going to have dinner with him and his wife, because they're only a couple hours away from us, and there's a restaurant in the city that we do a lot of work in that they love. So one of these days I'm going to pin Mike and Padlo down, and they're all going to come up this way, and we're all going to have dinner and have a Flowmie dinner up here. So
yeah, well, we keep telling him he has to come to one of the IWCA conventions soon, even though he's not a window cleaner, just so that he can
right.
Us, so.
Okay, once a window cleaner, always a window cleaner.
There you go.
That's the truth.
All right, so I think that was all
I
the
think that's
nominations,
it. That's
right?
the end. I think we're gonna close up shop now.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Oh,
No,
we're
there's
missing
one more.
somebody.
We got one more.
Yeah, there's one more, and your laptop battery's not going to die, Gabe, because I know it's plugged in.
It is. It's like 10%, so I can't.
That's all we need. 10%.
Yeah. So there was a couple of us that nominated Gabe, and he wanted, just so everybody knows, he wanted to back out of that. He's like, no, let's let everybody else have the limelight. No, we're not going to do that. I made the executive decision in the mod chat that it was going to go through, and well, what I say goes. So
Here we are.
here we are. So we all agreed, and that Gabe is one of the things that one of the people that kind of holds everything together. And there's many a time in the mod chats that we're like, this has got to go, and this is bad, and here comes the voice of reason.
It's called Gabe Glue. Gabe Glue.
Here comes the voice of reason to calm everyone down and be like, all right, fellas and gals, let's think about this for a minute. So, and then of course, not to mention being active in the group and helping to promote all the admin duties and moderator duties. So, Gabe, we all thank you. And I know everybody's going to agree with us that I don't think we could do it without you. So you're winning an award too. We're going to have to create a separate group without Gabe to come up with what we are going to do for the Flowmie award, actually.
Gabe is absolutely, I feel like you're the heart of our group in so many ways. Not only are you always helping like everyone, like I can't tell you how many times where I've had people say like they were going through a hard time, but then they talked to Gabe and he helped them get through it, whether it was through their business or personal or family, including us. He works tirelessly on this ITF podcast that would not exist if it weren't for him. And I feel like
now the IWCA podcast.
And now the IWCA podcast and Gabe's Corner in American Window Cleaning Magazine. And I love reading his articles and I love hearing what he has to say. And he is someone who's truly selfless, who really believes in the power and the good that this industry can bring and how it changes lives. And I just feel super honored to be able to call him a friend. And you're amazing.
I agree. Let me add a little something on top of that.
Here.
Gabe, you are an inspiring person. Somebody that, once they meet you, you're someone to be respected. Someone that knows a lot and can teach a lot, and we can pick at you and build our own little something out of, we can build our own little mini Gabe and say, here's my mini Gabe right here, you know, based on everything that you've shared. You're just like Brandy. You're not going to highlight yourself. And I told the whole group, I said, Gabe is not going to do that. But we recognize that. We know you are the rock to this foundation. And without you, we wouldn't be sitting here year after year talking about everyone else's successes but yours.
And I'll say one more thing. If there's one word I would use to describe Gabe, it's respectable. He's somebody that practices what he preaches when it comes to selflessness. I'm sure every single one of us here has been helped by Gabe. He's also focused on safety, training, the industry, and people. He's interested in people. So you're very respectable. That's what I think. And I think you deserve to be one of the winners of this award.
Absolutely.
I also think he should be, I don't know, I voted for him, but I think he should be like, get that IWCA award too. But that's just
Personally, I'm speechless. Everyone here has said just about all the things that I've wanted to say as well. Gabe's awesome. Definitely motivates me to be a better person. And I look to you in your example, and I'm sometimes just amazed that you keep going and you keep doing it. With all this going on with the family, challenges that you described earlier, and I'm honored to be, a fellow Flowmie and honored to know you, and I'm honored to help keep pushing this ITF flow, down the, into the community, into the window cleaning community with you. So I'm honored to know you.
I feel like we need bracelets to say, what would Gabe do?
What would Gabe do?
Yeah. Like every time I feel like I have a really hard decision for business.
They used to want bracelets that say, what would Kevin do? But then it kept getting them in trouble. So I
Kevin's
think
on one hand. He's got the bracelet.
I think what would Gabe do is much better, because you're not going to get near as much trouble as you will thinking what I would do.
Well, I don't think this is fair, because all the other winners didn't have to sit here and listen to it in person. So this is it is embarrassing, but it is also very much an honor. When we formed this group and we became the mods who we were, there was really no thought put to it, right?
No, not a single
who was
one.
available. Who was the sucker who said yes? And we said yes, and we did it. And then, of course, we added Nando, we added Joel, we added Corey, and some left. But this crew that we have left here as mods, I pretty much in everything that I do, I try to be a reflector. So that's why I try to hang around good people, because I know if I'm around good people, then that gives me the opportunity to reflect their goodness off to others. So I think sometimes, I don't know, I feel uncomfortable accepting the praise, because I feel a lot of that is just things that have been given to me that have been reflected back. And I think people see in others what they, in their mentors, what they want to see. And so kind of, I always think of my job as how good of a mirror can I be to that, and we all excel in different areas of that. And in ITF, that's always what I wanted to be, is just the concept of ITF and the ideals of it are so needed in our industry, that my whole goal is what can I do to make sure that mirror continues to reflect out to others. And hopefully the people who have those same ideals see the reflection, and then they come and join us. And hopefully the people who need to hear the ideals and need it to get by or to make progress or to overcome a problem, they see it and then they get comfort, and to know that I'm a mirror amongst many other mirrors, that means that the light's even that much more brighter. So
yeah, you just need to take the award, Gabe. You're an inspiration to a lot of people, and
I think you're down to 1%.
I am done.
This is the time where you disconnect, sir.
But no, truly, I absolutely 100% believe in ITF. And that's why I'm still a part of it, even though I accepted a long time ago, very reluctantly. In fact, I said no. And then I think Cody was the one who begged me to come in, and I came back. Otherwise, I wouldn't be a mod. And I'm so glad that I did, because, man, it's been such a neat experience, and look forward to continuing working with you guys. And it is an honor too. So thank you so much. All you guys are awesome.
And I think you're right
Honored to
about
have
it. I think you're right about it being like a shining light to other people, that it brings in those people who have those same values. And we've grown every year. And I'm so excited that we have, 935 members now, getting close to that 1,000. And even despite the size of the group, we've still managed to keep that soul and that purpose, what that original intention we had, which I'm so excited and happy about. And a lot of that's because of you, Gabe.
Yeah, and just always remember, it's not the size of the group, it's the magic in it.
Oh my God, I'm gonna have to put that on a t-shirt.
Now, you know what we do need on a t-shirt? And who's doing that? Padlo now, right?
Padlo.
Yeah.
T-shirts. We need to put Gabe's on it. Caption: what would Gabe do? I will buy one of those shirts.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Yeah, I want to see. Yeah, we'll have to have Padlo work on something. It's more like a caricature, you know, so the mustache is highlighted immensely.
There you go. Flashy with the flash behind him. Maybe him on a track saying, "What would Gabe do?"
Holding a taco.
Holding a taco. Yeah.
What would Gabe do? Eat tacos.
Taco
Head squeegee. 40-degrey with a taco in one hand and the header in the other hand.
Oh, the ideas are going to be countless, Gabe. We got so many.
Oh, I can't wait till Padlo watches.
I think this is a great time to have this podcast. We're not getting more ideas.
So, throughout the growth of the ITF, what I have found, the more people that join in, it's becoming like a museum of the industry, where you go in and there is just so much information to anything you need to know, from the hospital side, from the construction sites, from the desert life, like, different parts of the world, cold climates, hot climates, rainy climates, and seasons. There is just so much that this group offers. One question, and I told my son, I don't know, I think most of you guys are aware now that he's starting his business in Arizona. And he recently, you guys don't mind if I share the quick story?
No,
he recently lost his job, where he was a tech. He did the systems for the banking, the networks, and he lost his job. And he caused me really worried, because you're like, I'm gonna go home right now. What am I gonna tell my wife? He's like, well, he has a daughter, and I told him, I said, well, this is the point. This is your point right now, where you're gonna prove to yourself, what are you gonna do with life? Like, do you want to move on and continue this 9-to-5 job, or do you want to start a window cleaning? He's been doing it slowly on the weekends and Saturdays and Sundays. He's subbed out with another company right now in Arizona. He is grinding. He's purchased. I sent him a gardener pole. I told him I will not accept anything else. If I ever see him using something else, I'm going to take him out of my will. But I kid you not, this kid, he's every Monday through Friday right now. He's out there grinding. 3 days out of the week, he's grinding for someone. And then the other 2 days, he's focusing on he already built his brand. Very good brand that he's made, obviously with a little bit of help of his dad. But I've led him on to the ITF. I said, look, I know you're not going to want to ask me everything. I mean, if you do, I'll be more than happy to provide you the information, but join the ITF. Get in there, ask your questions. And I said, and get a hold of Gabe, because he's on your side of town. So he's going to know your area a lot more than me. I said, but get out there, and he's really killing it. And that's a prime example of getting things done right at the moment when you first start. Build your efficiency. That's where he's at. And that's one of my proud moments this year, end of year.
Awesome, guys. Well, we're pushing 2 hours, as we always do, just because we just love each other. And I really do love you guys very much.
We don't talk to each other too much.
Yeah, we take advantage of this time when we got it, but Flowmies, thank you guys. You guys are what make the group awesome. Please keep the positivity coming. Please keep the mentoring and the helping and the posting. All of that makes a big difference. And we know that we have 2023 is going to be just as great. We're going to continue growing with the right people, and we're going to be able to continue spreading our message to wherever we can go. So thanks so much. Y'all have a great day. You guys have take care. We'll see you next year. And as always, flow on.